and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Monday, 10 March. I'm your host Daniel, and today we'll be covering Russia has expelled 2 British diplomats, Iran, China and Russia are holding annual naval drills, and the US has increased its dominance as the world's largest arms exporter. So firstly, Russia has announced the expulsion of a British diplomat and the spouse of another, accusing them of intelligence and subversive work. The Federal Security Service, or FSB, stated that the 2 individuals had been stripped of their accreditation and must leave Russia within 2 weeks. This move is seen as part of a tit-for-tat escalation between the UK and Russia, with the UK Foreign Office dismissing the accusations as malicious and baseless. This latest expulsion follows a series of similar actions, including the UK's expulsion of a Russian diplomat last month and Moscow's expulsion of a British diplomat in November last year. Relations between the UK and Russia have reached new lows since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, with 7 British diplomats being expelled from Russia in the past year alone on espionage charges, which the UK thoroughly denies. The recent expulsion are the first since Russia and the US held talks on restoring relations last month. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has maintained strong support for Ukraine, pledging an increase in defence spending and advocating for a coalition to deter further Russian aggression. Moscow has criticised the UK's stance and the idea of foreign peacekeeping missions in Ukraine. So what? Wow, this is not surprising. This is another sign that we are in a new Cold War. Though it is possible that these individuals are not involved in intelligence activities in Russia, it is likely that their expulsion was targeted for some reason, likely with the intent of disrupting operations at the UK embassy, whether that be intelligence operations or something else. Due to this, the UK will likely make a similar move, making 1 or 2 Russian diplomats persona non grata, as is the way with these kinds of battles. Though this move is possibly damaging in the short term, it is unlikely to have a significant effect in the medium to long term, as assets can be handed over. And next, Russian and Chinese warships have arrived in Iranian waters for the annual Marine Security Belt naval drills, which will commence near the Gulf of Oman soon. These drills aim to enhance regional security and foster mutual cooperation among the participating countries. The Gulf of Oman is a critical area for global trade, leading to the Strait of Hormuz, a vital oil shipping route. The exercises will involve various naval operations, including the liberation of captured ships, search and rescue missions, and artillery firing at sea. Russia is contributing 2 corvettes and a tanker from its Pacific Fleet, while China is deploying a destroyer and a supply ship. Iran is participating with 10 ships from both its Navy and the Revolutionary Guard. So what? I think every intelligence organization remotely involved in maritime ops will be watching these drills very closely. While this is mainly an exercise to practice working together, it is highly likely also intended as a show of force for the region and the world as a whole. The key things that people are looking for are the level of interoperability, how well the ships work together, move together, and operate as one force. It'll be interesting to see the state of the Russian Navy, as while these ships have come from their Pacific Fleet, they have likely suffered from the conflict in Ukraine. And lastly, the latest report by the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute reveals that global arms exports have stagnated, showing little change compared to the period from 2010 to 2019. However, a closer examination highlights significant geopolitical shifts. Ukraine has emerged as the largest recipient of heavy weapons between 2020 and 2024, with imports increasing nearly 150% compared to 2015 to 2019, accounting for almost 9% of global arms exports. This surge is a direct response to Russian aggression, which began in February 2022. Concurrently, arms orders in other European countries rose 155%, driven by the threat of Russia and uncertainties about US foreign policy. The report also noted that 35 countries have supplied arms to Ukraine, with the US leading at 45%, followed by Germany and Poland. This underscores the potential impact of the US under Donald Trump pausing its military support for Ukraine. Despite the stagnation in overall global arms trade volume, there has been significant shifts in the recipients of these weapons. While arms imported to Europe and the Middle East have garnered media attention, Asia and Oceania remain the largest arms importing regions. The US continues to be the largest arms exporter, while Russia's exports have significantly declined due to the war in Ukraine and sanctions. So what? Some of these are quite interesting. I would have bet good money on global arms exporting having exploded in the last period, rather than staying at the same levels. It is also interesting that despite a large-scale conflict in Europe, Asia and Oceania are still importing more weapons. This is likely due to the growing threat of China and their actions in the South China Sea. Sadly, it seems highly unlikely that these levels will drop anytime soon, with global tensions only increasing and Europe looking to become more independent in terms of military equipment. It is only likely to increase. Thank you for tuning in to the Intel Brief, your daily update on global geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. You can support the show by sharing with your friends or leaving us a 5-star review. And if you're curious to learn more about intelligence, check out one of our courses below. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you next time.